Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. As you can see by the thumbnail, we're going to talk about the Indiana Fever and the Minnesota Lynx. I actually did a video already, but it ended up going like 35 minutes. I kind of went down the rabbit hole a little bit. I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter. I'll try and do a follow-up tomorrow. See if I can get some clips and things that I can show you about the game. I know some people like to see that sort of stuff. But right now, let's just talk about overall thoughts on the game, how this went. I will say this first. I think this is a huge win for the Indiana Fever. It was an ugly win. I mean, neither team played well at all. It was an ugly game to watch, but those games happen, in all sports. And as a team, when things aren't going well, you have to find a way to get the win. And I don't think the Fever would have won this game in May or maybe even through most of June. I think this is a big step for them in finding a way to win this type of game. It's huge in terms of their playoffs hopes. I talked before in another video about the games they had left and how they were going to have to take care of business against the teams below them and steal a couple from the teams above them. And then they went and lost to the Mystics, but they stole that game from the Liberty. Then I won't say they stole one from Phoenix because Phoenix ended up being shorthanded, but you still have to play who's in front of you. And as we saw with the Mystics game, nothing's guaranteed. So it's still a big win. And then, of course, this is a huge win, beating the Minnesota Lynx. First thing I want to do is give a shout out to Aaliyah Boston. 17 points, 16 boards, 8 of 11 from the field. And she had a monster first half. She had a double-double in the first half. So basically, while the rest of the team wasn't playing great, Melissa Smith, she did end up with 11 points and only 7 shots. She made her free throws, but she only grabbed 2 boards. 2. Outside of Boston's 16, nobody had more than 4. And I'll give a shout out to Kelsey Mitchell because she does not grab 4 rebounds very often. But overall, not a great shooting night really from either team. Thankfully the Lynx were not in sync well either. They did not shoot well. It was not their best game. They turned the ball over 4 times. But first thing I want to go to, because it's kind of funny, is I guess Reeve, who is the head coach of Minnesota, and she's also the head coach of the Olympic team, who does not like Caitlin Clark at all. She was asked about, having a lot of Fever fans in the stands because of being in Minneapolis. And as you can see here, if you can't read it, it says, I don't give two BS. Not the word she used, but you get the point. Um, and then David here, I think he's a reporter in Indianapolis, says, one player and team turned your whole home arena against you. How about now? In referencing, does she now give a you know what? So I thought that was kind of cool. And then we had this. Cheryl Reeves said she didn't want Caitlin on the Olympic team because she never won in the trenches with her. Today, she went into the house Maya Moore built and got a big dub in the trenches. And that's exactly what it was because it was ugly. This was not a style game for for either team. That's neither one of them really played well. Look, like I said, we should celebrate the win because it's a big win against a good team. The Lynx are 16-7, so I mean it's huge in terms of the Fever playoff situation and the run to the playoffs. But I got to tell you, I did not like how it started at all. I think this is a performance that would have gotten them blown out earlier in the season. They looked kind of like early season Indiana Fever, not just because the players didn't shoot well, but I watched the beginning of this game, and my thought is I'm Christie Sides in the locker room before the game, and I'm going, okay, okay, ladies, I know that we have figured out that we're a running team, and we're really good with it. We can light up any defense when we're running. We've got Caitlin Clark on the point. She's distributing. The rest of you are getting out into your lanes. You're getting easy layups. You're getting easy look threes. Caitlin's able to get her own three. in transition that's open, something we cannot get for her in the half court offense because I, as a coach, have no half court offense. I'm absolutely terrible at it, other than saying get touches in the paint. I don't run any off the ball screens. The only on the ball is Aaliyah and Caitlin running their pick and roll. I have no system at all. If we run a half court offense, we're gonna stink. However, just so you know, we are playing against the Olympic team coach, and she does not like Caitlin. So what I want to do as the Fever coach is play a half court offense so that hopefully Caitlin Clark will not have good numbers and we won't embarrass the other coach who does not like Caitlin Clark. That's what it looked like. There was no transition offense. They were not getting out in the break. She took Caitlin out of the game 5 minutes into it for Wheeler. Wheeler hadn't seen Lexi Hull. Then when Clark goes back in, she's got her and Wheeler playing together, which we all know is a bad situation. The officiating was terrible too, but we won't even get into that. But yeah, it was just bad all around. There was no running by this Fever team until the fourth quarter, right? And that's why you get a 28-point fourth quarter against only 14. Caitlin does not get any open looks in the half court set. If she gives up the ball, the entire team is stagnant, not just her, but she's standing off on the wing. There's no movement off the ball. There's no picks. There's no running baseline with double picks to get her open on the opposite wing. There's just nothing, which is, and again, a bad day for her as a three-point shooter. It happens. So I'm not going to try and excuse it or say it's the end of the world because it happens to all shooters. I think it could have been a little better if they were out in transition and she could get some open looks. That would have been really, really helpful. Thankfully, with Aaliyah Boston's awesome first half and the Lynx not being able to shoot, the Fever were in this ball game. And then when we got to the fourth, they did run a little more, again, as evidenced by them scoring 28 points because they were down. Right, it had ballooned to 7 points to start the fourth. So now they're loosened up. There's a little more running, and you had the fourth start like this. Caitlin Clark makes only her second three, right? What, 30 seconds later, she makes a technical free throw. 15 seconds later, Kelsey Mitchell, like I said, she got a little warm in the fourth. She makes a three, which was assisted by Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark had 10 of her 17 points in the fourth quarter. And look, she had 17.6 assists and 3 rebounds. And that's a bad game. Think about that for a minute. Think about what was a bad game, in May or June. So her bad games, like if it wasn't Caitlin Clark and you looked at tied for the team leading points with 17, led the team in assists, and also grabbed 3 rebounds, 17, 6, and 3, you'd think, all right, that's a good game. It's not a good game for Caitlin anymore. Now, I think she had a couple of threes there was a lid on the basket as well, which just, made it tough. There's going to be one of those days. But, overall, it's a good win for them. I thought, where is it? I did want to show this since I had it up. And this is, again, going back to the turnovers, another aspect of it is with her vision and the way she can pass, you're going to get turnovers because you're also going to get plays like this to Lexi Hull. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. That pass is absolutely ridiculous. And by the way, and great finish by Lexi Hull. Reverse layup on that side with the right hand. She's coming hard to the basket. That was not an easy catch, which, by the way, Mitchell missed another easy one earlier in the game, which also gave me flashbacks. So that's a great backdoor cut. Great pass, great hands by Lexi Hull, great athletic adjustment to gather that and go up and have the awareness of where she is in the body control to make that reverse layup with the right hand. Absolutely, absolutely huge. One thing I want to show you, lighten the mood after that win was because it's kind of funny. This is typical Caitlin being asked about I guess what she's number 2 now in all time for assists in a rookie season.
Caitlin, you passed keeper second all time now, rookie season. Yeah. And you do it in Minneapolis where you obviously have a lot of fond memories here. What does that mean to you? Does that add any sort of sentimental value to do that in this building?
Not really. Probably something I won't remember. I don't know. It's cool. Yep. You are so funny, girl.
Caitlin, you passed
I don't know
keeper
if you could
second all
hear it
time
because they
now.
kind of got Aaliyah off. Aaliyah said, "You were so funny, girl," because Caitlin's response was, and this said she's a baller. She wants to win. She wants to play well, and that type of stuff doesn't matter that much to her. I think the rest of us get a little more into it when you're talking about the bigger stuff like Rookie of the Year, because just because it may not be a big deal to the player, it is still a big deal if they're deserving of it, and you're going to have fans. I mean, that's part of the nature of sports, right? The fans are always arguing about this stuff. But I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, this was going to be much shorter. I did one that was like half hour or so. But oh, the one thing I did want to say, just because it was kind of funny, that foul or the technical on Caitlin Clark for the hostile act by hitting the player in the face. Oh my gosh. If players from 20, 30, 40 years ago could hear this nonsense or they know of this nonsense, they're shaking their heads. I've never heard hostile act. That's actually how it was worded. That's what the referee said. I've never in my life heard such a thing in the sport of basketball. She accidentally hit the player in the face with her fingers after she was fouled. You want to call it a foul? Fine. A hostile act and a technical? Are you kidding me? Which, by the way, let's to add insult to injury. Don't forget Kennedy Carter's assault on Caitlin Clark when she ambushed her from behind. That was only called a foul, a regular old foul, dead ball too. I mean that's right. That's absolutely. But that shows you again to the officiating with regard to Caitlin Clark. It's a little ridiculous, but yeah. I mean, I think I made the big things in my wonderfully done impersonation of Christie Sides. It was a terrible it was a terrible offense. It was an offense that didn't seem designed to win games. I think once or twice, and that 3 that she hit early in the 4th that I mentioned, there was actually off the ball screens set for Caitlin Clark to come off the screen and shoot. And unfortunately, we see that like once or at most twice a game, sometimes not at all. And it is very if and I'll try and get video and maybe go through it tomorrow. But for those of you who saw the game, her 3 2-point buckets were nothing but hard work by her dribbling around and putting her defender on a string before going to the basket and making very difficult layups. That's what all of her two pointers were. The one 3-pointer in the 4th was off the screen. The other 3-pointer she made in the first half was one of the few times it was transition, and they weren't pushing up with pace, but it was in transition a little bit. So Caitlin Clark came from right to left across the court and just hit the 3. There was no passing involved at all. And that's because that's kind of the only way she can get open. But end of the day, it's a big win for the team. It really is. So for them to win that kind of game. For all the Indiana fans, unfortunately, you look at that and think Christie Sides is doing it again. Nothing is secure. We can't even think, oh, definitely going to make the playoffs because you never know what Christie Sides is going to do. But I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for checking out this video. Hope you have a fantastic rest of the weekend if you're seeing this Sunday. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.